Last time. It's short.
Let me tell you a story about one of the craziest times of my life. I was 16 years old. I was packing parachutes at a skydive center in Buckeye, Arizona. Now you ask, why skydiving? Why were you working at a skydiving center? Well, I come from a long line of skydiving family members. My dad was a skydiver. My uncle was a skydiver. My grandmother was a skydiver. My mother was also a skydiver. Granted, my grandmother and my mother don't do it anymore due to medical reasons, but my uncle and my dad did it for a very long time. Well, one day I was packing parachutes. It was a Saturday. It was kind of chilly. My boss pulls me into the office and goes, "Hey, you're in trouble." Me being 16 years old, I'm thinking, what did I do? I'm 16. I'm doing what you told me to do. You know, typical teenage stuff. And little did I know at that time, my boss, my father, and the safety and training advisor of the skydive center were going to take me on a skydive. They were in cahoots and wanted to throw me out of an airplane, which, why not? That's cool. So we get strapped up. We ride that plane up to 14,000 feet. That door opens, and people start going out the plane. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is scary. Why am I doing this? But we get to that door. He rocks me. He says, ready, set, go. And out we go. And I'm not going to lie to you, I screamed like a little girl. That's all good. Most people do. Okay. We get out. We were in free fall. We have a good time. We're going 120 mile an hour plus. It's awesome. And then that parachute opens, and then it's complete peace. Calm. The wind's blowing just a little bit, and it's nice and calm. We fly around, and then we land. Now, you may be asking yourself, or telling yourself, why would you want to go skydiving? Well, let me tell you a couple things about that. First of all, it is the biggest stress relief that I have ever felt in my entire life. You think probably 16 years old, what do you have to be stressed about? Well, you got school and stuff like that, life. It also increases blood flow throughout your entire body. I mean, you're going 120 miles an hour. That adrenaline, the heart's pumping, it's awesome. And for those of you that like to count calories and count how much you burn and how much you put in your body, you also lose about 200 calories every skydive. So if you do 5 skydives in a day, that's 1,000 calories that you're burning. Awesome health benefit. Well, and then there are people who are like, why would you want to go throw yourself out of a perfectly good airplane? Why not? I already said that. Excuse me. There are people that are there are people who are afraid of heights. Sorry for the confusion. There are people who are afraid of heights, and fear of falling, and fear of flying, and whatever fear you may have. Well, I'm afraid of heights. I don't like flying. I don't like being on a roof. I don't like being on a ladder. Skydiving is the number one way to get rid of your fear of heights. You also may be asking, isn't skydiving dangerous? Well, I'm here to tell you, skydiving is safer than driving your car to the grocery store. In 2024 alone, there were 24 fatalities, according to the United States Parachute Association. Whereas in Georgia, the Georgia Department of Transportation notes that there were 7,900 fatalities in the state of Georgia alone, traffic accidents. Skydiving is extremely safe. You have 3 backup systems. You have a reserve parachute, an AAD, and an RSL. The reserve parachute is there in case something goes wrong with your main. You have line twist, a malfunction, whatever the case may be, that reserve parachute is there to save your life. An AAD stands for automatic activation device. So what this does, it's a little explosive charge in your reserve parachute tray that has an altimeter on it, and it senses that if you're going over 79 miles an hour at 750 feet, it goes, oh no, we're in trouble, and it will shoot a razor blade into that loop of your reserve parachute, and it will open your reserve parachute. Yes, there are people who have had that happen many, many times. And there's also an RSL, which stands for Reserve Static Line. Now, a reserve static line is attached to your main parachute. If there's a malfunction and you cut that main parachute away, and for some reason if you can't get over to pull your reserve, as that main parachute's falling away, or you're falling away from that main parachute, and you're going back into free fall, it is attached to your reserve pin on your back and will open that reserve parachute. So no matter what, you're safe. Most of the time when people get hurt or killed in skydiving, it's people saying, hey, watch me, I'm cool, we're, whatever the case may be. And that's how they get hurt. It's trying to show off and be dumb, for lack of a better term. Ultimately, I have roughly 2,000 plus skydives. I was a former skydive instructor. I met my wife skydiving. I took her on her first skydive. I took my mother-in-law skydiving. And I'm going to tell you what, I would not change anything. And I recommend highly that everybody tries it at least once in their lifetime. Thank you and have a great day.